So you remember we were talking about the bow, the top of the bow, and then the tail of the bow. So right now, this strip is for the top of the bow. So right now in the raw, because I'm gonna set you right here. My cameraman's not available, and I forgot my phone stand. So this right now is the length. So what we've done is we've sewn to connect the two sides, the front and the back side together, and then we've sewn this side and we've sewn this side, and then we sewed down to a point and stopped, sewed down to here to a point and stopped, so this can be a big enough opening so that we can turn this inside out. This is what we're fixing to do, and then we're going to fill it with polyfill. And we want to do very little. We don't want to pack it full. We want it to be spread out and to be kind of puffy, but still have some form to it, but some flexibility, and still kind of look as natural as possible. So it kind of can lay flat up against a door, a wall, or a wreath. So this measures out to be, let me grab that 1 second. Okay, got my measuring. So we have the front and the back together equals 42 inches long by about 10 inches wide when finished, when sewn together, okay? So you have to remember, this is a front and a back, because once we turn it inside out and we get all the filling in there, then we're going to join these two seams together, and then it's going to create this effect, so that when we scrunch it, it becomes the size that we want, which would end up being about 13-15 inches long, the top of the bow. It'll be this way. So right now I'm fixing to turn this inside out, so this can be the top of my bow. And depending on your fabric print, you gotta watch to make sure that you're sewing it in the correct way, so that when you make the bow, it complements the bow. So I'm checking my seams to make sure everything on the outside looks good. And yes, we're making a July 4th bow, door bow. So, and like I said, you can go to our website at Red Feathers, and you can go to our page and find it, and I'll also put the link in the description. And like I said, I'm not making no rhyme or reason to any of this. So once you do that, then you turn it inside out, and then you're ready to fill. And so we'll be back shortly, okay? And your tails. So on this particular bow that I'm doing, we said that the top of the bow is welcome to my camper. I do this out of my camper. I had a she shed, and 5 years ago we lost everything, and it got caught in fire. So this is measuring right at 44 inches long, because then you're gonna join this and stuff it, and then it becomes in half, and then you're gonna have a really big bow, which would measure out to be, right now in the raw, 22. So you have plenty of room for this to be your topper. So the tail on this specific one is a little bit shorter than I'd like it to be, but it just worked out to on this particular bow. So the raw, so this, because I'm playing with patterns and stuff, so after you ducktail them or do them however you want, let me give you what the length of this particular tail is. And this is before we sew it. It's 36 inches long. So you'll do that, but before you do, you want to do your quilting stitch however you want to do it. So like on these are all running straight down. So when I join this and close it, we're gonna sew. This side will be a finished side, so you're only sewing really on one side. So then you're gonna sew, stop, back stitch, and then leave a pretty good opening so that you can turn it inside out to the right side of the fabric, to like you're seeing it now, because then you're going to step it, and then you're going to skip a little bit of space and finish sewing out and sew out your bottoms. Turn it like it's supposed to be. Then you're going to lightly fill it with your polyfill. And we encourage you guys to just, you can stuff them as much as you want to, but to give it the flexibility and still kind of lay flat against a door or a wreath or whatever you're wanting to use it for, or a wall, it'll still look nice. So again, this particular tail is 36 inches long, and then your actual top of your bow is 44 inches long. Because what you're doing is you're taking an 18 by 21 and putting it together, or if you have a long enough piece of fabric that you're just using, just make sure it's 44 inches long to at least get you 13 to 15 inches in a bow. This one may turn out a little bit longer, but we'll look at it again when it's finished. So right now we are doing our quilting on our top of our bow. So when I get that finished and get that complete, we'll see what a bow putting it together looks like. See you in a little while. I will say it is a good idea to get a stabler for the back when you do quilt. I just don't have any on me. So you just have to really guide and watch your materials so that you get those straight lines or those quilting designs that you're wanting in the top of your fabric when you do your quilting on the top of your fabric. So I like to do the straight lines on these, like I mentioned in prior videos. I've done the diamond, I've done like 2-inch squares and then did the diagonal, but I find that these on the bows are so much better with just the straight line. But do get the stabilizer that you like for your fabric, so when you do go to quilt, you will have a better what's the word I'm looking for? It'll just handle better. Your fabric won't move on you, okay? So if you're not going to use one or you don't have any on you, it's not going to stop you from doing this particular project, especially the way I'm doing it. And like I said, most crafters, or quilters I should say, would probably be coming after me. And please don't. Be kind. Be nice. I'm just doing a project that I find fun and it brings me joy, and I hope it brings you joy too. You'll love it and it's fun. So just be back in just a jiffy when we finish up quilting the top of our bow. Okay, so we have the top of our fabric quilted with our design. Now we're gonna do we're gonna sew this side, and then we're gonna sew down this side to a certain point, leaving an opening, and then come down here, sew and finish off that, and then turn it inside outward, stuff it with the polyfill. I'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, now this side is closed and this is the finished side, so you don't have to sew that. And then of course this side is closed, and then this side. So here's your opening, so that we can turn the fabric right side out. So before we do, you want to trim your corners like so. And you also, when you start to turn it inside out, you want to check, make sure all seams, everything looks good, so you don't have any holes. So we're gonna turn this inside out. And let's see what we have. Let's make sure everything looks good. And that looks good. And that looks good. Happy with that. Happy with that seam. That looks really good. Let's turn this side. Okay, so I'm liking the way that looks. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start to fill it. Before we fill it, we're going to put our tag on and do that. I snagged it when I pulled on that thread. Don't pull on your thread, just take your scissors and nick it. Okay, I'll be right back. I'll get the fill. Okay, so this is where we're going to join the seams on the back side. So I'm going to turn this around so you can kind of see. So that is kind of where we're at right now, and we're going to sew that together to make sure that is joined together. And again, I'm so sorry I didn't have all my equipment with me and set up today, so it is kind of raw, but I hope you enjoy it. So I'll be back with you in just a minute. Okay, so when you're done doing all of that, it should look something like this. So depending on which side you want to be your front of your bow or the back side of your bow, it's going to be up to you. So you still have this hole right here so that you can start filling it. So that's what we're going to do, and I fill it. You want padding in there, but you still want to have it be a little movable and be flexible. You don't want to overfill it. So when I grab some of this, I kind of pat it down and make it flat so that it's not puffy like a pillow. So you'll just kind of play around with it to your preference and your liking. You'll kind of feel around in there to see what you prefer. And again, like I've mentioned before in other videos, you can make them as full as you would like, but in order for them to kind of still have that flat kind of look to them, you don't want to overfill. So less is more is what they say. At least I say that. So anyway, so all I'm doing is once I get it inside, I'm just kind of flattening it out and spreading it a little bit goes a long ways. So depending on how much of the polyfill that you're getting and grabbing, so it still kind of looks flat and fluffy, but floppy is, I guess, the word I'm looking for, is what you should end up with. So I'm kind of scooting you back a little bit. So once I get it somewhat, you can kind of tell that's kind of what you're looking for. You can see this side doesn't have any polyfill, this does, so it still kind of has that you want it to form and have that form of a bow, the top of it, but you don't want to overpack it. So I'm like pulling out, but by the time I put it inside, I am literally flattening it out so that it's not too much and not overfilling it. So I'm still working on this side of the band, and so we're gonna keep filling her up till we get her pretty good on this side, and then we'll flip her over and do the other side. So let's see, a little bit more over here. Okay. Just trust me, just trust me. I want to get focused in what I'm doing. So you probably don't want to be bored watching me just fill this. I'll be right back. Okay, so we have all of our filling in there, what I like. I'm thinking that this side might need a little bit more. So I'm going to add just a tiny bit. Just, you want it to be flat, but you don't want it to be too flat. There you go. And of course, you know, once you get it all situated and you're happy with the way it looks, then you can go back and assess and look at it and make sure that you like how the overall bow is distributing the polyfill. Okay, so I think that is good. I'll show you kind of what I've got going on. So it does kind of like that's, you know how I'm like sandwiching it, so it's got a fluffy feel, but it isn't overly stuffed. So Remember where we joined the two materials together? So you have a back seam and this seam. When you do this, you're not gonna see that. That's why in a minute after we sew it, we're gonna do this, and I'll show you how we tie it off to create the top part of the bow. So now that I'm happy with that, I'm gonna take this back to my sewing machine, sew this up, and then we'll be back and I'll show you how we tie it. So before we tie off and connect the top of the bow and the bottom of the tail of the bow. So right now we have at the sewing machine the tail of the bow, and so we're sewing that, and then we're gonna put polyfill in that, and then we'll connect it. So hang tight and we'll be right back. Okay, so we are sewing close our tail of our bow, and come back in just a few minutes and we'll put the bow topper and the tail together. Something kind of like this, kind of, you know, whatever in this. So remember, this was like this. So basically you're gonna find your seam, and those two will come together. Just pinch it, and then you're gonna just gather it and go like this, right? So for this particular bow, this is the back side of my bow, so this will be the front side of my bow. And so it'll be sandwiched like that, and then this is going to be my right, yes. So then this will just kind of go up underneath here like that, and under my thumb. And so she'll kind of look like something like this, okay? And I know the pattern and all of it kind of looks fun and funky, but this design is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fun. And then we're gonna take a band, and, or actually before we do that, you're gonna cut you some twine, like I have, and you're going to, and then I'm kind of doing it all, just make sure it's even on both sides as much as possible. And then you're gonna tie the two together really tight as you want it. So like right now I'm like sandwiching it super tight because I want my bow to be tight. And the cool thing about using the twine, you have some wiggle room to kind of straighten it out and organize it. So what you do with what's left over, this becomes what the bow will hang from. So for me, I'm not necessarily wanting this to be seen. Just kind of measure with your heart how much of a hanger for it to spin from, and then I just double knot it just to make sure that it's good and knotted off. And then we take our scissors, we clip that, and so now I'm going to sit here and adjust it. So you see, like, this side's a little bit longer than this side. You can still move this around until it's even on both sides. And right now, I know you can't see it on camera, but right now I am working to make sure I'm happy with the proportion of both sides of the bow. That was the back. This is the front. Let me switch this around. So she's coming together. It's looking really nice. It's taking shape. I have to move my twine around. There we go. Yes, 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 yes. Right? Am I in the right spot? Yeah. I talk to myself a lot. Okay. So once I'm happy with the way she looks and making sure that the bow overall is proportioned well, then I'm going to take one of these strips, a center band, and I'm going to sew it, but I'm going to make that be our center band that's going to hide. So how do I do that? Because I already have a hook. You're just going to slide I don't know if you can see me doing it, but you're going to slide the material through here. And I actually have pill and stick hemming tape. So once I've hemmed both sides of the band that's going to go around here to make this a finished bow and tie the bottom fabric with the rest of it, it'll be all one bow. So hang tight, we'll be back and I'll show you the finished touches. Okay, on your band, when you decided to go with this print, your raw will be about 3 inches wide by about 11, 10 and a half, 12 inches long. But your finish should probably be about 2.5 by 10, depending on how wide and how tight you want your band to be. So we're gonna attach this, and like I said, we're gonna use a pill and stick hemming tape to secure this so that we don't have to take the bow back to the sewing machine, because it kind of gets a little tight and too much. So hang tight and we'll be right back to show you the finished look. Okay guys, welcome back to our RV. We're in our RV making this bow, and this is how it turned out. So this is the finished look. You can see our banding is, sorry, I forgot my stuff. So my banding's right here. You can go wider. I do prefer going wider, but I used what material I had left over to do this. So this will basically be a set. I'll make another one, so it will be a set of 2. And then we're gonna make some different designs, but this is the completed look of this bow. And again, this size ended up being, let's measure it, it ended up being finished look. Sorry, the camera is kind of crazy. We have, hold on, so the bow ended up being 17 by 20 from the top to the bottom of this bow. So overall, I think it's a really good size, to be honest. It's kind of, like I said, it's kind of between a medium and a large bow. I mean, it can be put on anything. And right now I just have it suspended up there on the screw. But let's go outside. I'll try to put it outside in natural light and let you see it outside. So here she is on my camper door. So that kind of gives you an idea how big it really is. I think it's really fun and cute. Of course, I just suspended off of the hook just to kind of bring you outside and let you see it. But here's all the details of it. I truly hope that you guys enjoyed today's tutorial. I know we had to break it up into parts. I'm sorry for the camera being a little crazy, but we are camping and this is kind of our life and how we do things. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you want more information about our bows, you can leave comments and we'll get that information out to you. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.